The stars glittered against the black void of space as the human exploration vessel Horizon drifted at the edge of our solar system. Captain Tak stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the main screen. His short black hair was neatly trimmed, and his uniform bore the patches of Earth's United Space Command. "Sir, we're picking up an unknown signal," said Communications Officer Lee, her fingers moving quickly across her control panel. "It's not matching any known human pattern." Tak's heart beat faster. After years of searching the stars, humanity might finally make contact with alien life. "Put it on speaker," he ordered. A strange sound filled the bridge. Not quite music, not quite speech. It pulsed with a rhythm that made the hair on the back of Tak's neck stand up. "Send our greeting message on all frequencies," he said. The crew waited in tense silence. Minutes stretched into hours. Then, without warning, a massive ship appeared in front of them. It seemed to step out of nowhere, as if it had been hiding behind an invisible door. The alien vessel was enormous, at least 20 times the size of the Horizon with a sleek, silvery surface that reflected the distant sunlight. "Sir," whispered Lee, "they're hailing us." The main screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. It had pale blue skin, 6 eyes arranged in a circle, and no visible mouth. When it spoke, the words seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Human vessel," the alien said in perfect English. "I am High Counselor Morix of the Vorn, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Confederation." Tak stepped forward. "I am Captain Tak of Earth's United Space Command. We come in peace and friendship." Morix's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "Your species is centuries behind even our most basic advancements," he said. "You will serve the Confederation as all lesser species must." Before Tak could respond, the screen went black. "Sir, they're scanning us," reported Science Officer Kim. "Our systems are being accessed." Tak opened his mouth to give an order, but suddenly felt very tired. The last thing he saw before falling unconscious was the rest of his crew slumping at their stations. When Tak woke up, he was still on the bridge of the Horizon but everything had changed. His crew was awake but silent, each person staring straight ahead with empty eyes. And standing in the center of the bridge was Morix, accompanied by 2 tall, thin aliens with gray skin and 4 arms each. "Your vessel will return to Earth," said Morix. "You will deliver our message to your leaders. The Confederation now claims this solar system and all its resources. Resistance will result in the destruction of your population centers." Tak tried to stand, but his body wouldn't obey him. "Why are you doing this?" he managed to ask. "It is the natural order," Morix replied simply. "Advanced Species Command. Primitive species serve. Your world has many resources we require, and your people will provide labor." One of the gray aliens handed Morix a small device. Morix pressed it against Tak's forehead. Pain shot through his skull, and then information began flooding into his mind. Images of the Confederation's 7 species, their vast fleets, their weapons that could crack planets. The message was clear. Humans had no chance against such power. "You understand now," said Morix, not asking a question but stating a fact. "Return to Earth. Prepare your people for their new purpose." 3 months later, Earth was surrounded by Confederation ships. The planet's governments had initially tried to resist, but after the Confederation destroyed the Moon's largest city as a demonstration, killing 30,000 colonists in seconds, Earth surrendered. Major Jeho stood at the entrance to the Mars mining complex, watching as human workers filed past her into the dark tunnels. Once a proud member of Earth's Special Forces, she was now just a supervisor making sure humans met their work quotas for their alien masters. "Another day in paradise," muttered Engineer Song as he approached. He was a short man with clever eyes and strong hands that were now covered in red Martian dust. Jeho glanced around to make sure no Vorn overseers were nearby before responding. "Have you found anything?" Song nodded slightly. "Access point to their data network, just like you asked. It's risky, though." Everything's risky now, said Jai-Ho. That night, while the human workers slept in their cramped quarters, Jai-Ho and Sung crept through the maintenance tunnels of the Martian base. Using access codes Sung had secretly obtained, they entered a small room filled with Confederation computer terminals. "How long do I have?" asked Jai-Ho. Sung checked his stolen Confederation device. 20 minutes before the security scan cycles back to this sector. Jai-Ho placed her hand on the alien interface, using the neural implant the Vorn had given all human supervisors. The alien text swirled before her eyes, gradually resolving into something she could understand. "They're not just taking our resources," she whispered as she read. "They're studying us. Our biology, our psychology." Her face went pale. "They're planning to use us as soldiers." "What? Why would they need human soldiers when their technology is so advanced?" Sung asked. Jai-Ho continued reading, her horror growing. "There's another enemy out there, something called the Void Reavers. The Confederation has been fighting them for decades. They need expendable troops for dangerous missions." She downloaded as much information as she could into her neural implant before they had to leave. Back in her small private quarters, a privilege of her supervisory role, Jai-Ho sifted through what she had stolen. "They don't think we're capable of rebellion," Jai-Ho told Sung the next day as they met in a quiet corner of the mining facility. "They categorized us as physically frail and psychologically compliant. They have no idea what humans are truly capable of." Sung looked skeptical. "What can we do against their technology? You saw what they did to Luna City." Jai-Ho's eyes hardened. "We start small, gather information, find weaknesses, build a network. They think we're simple and predictable, and that's going to be their mistake." Over the next few months, Jai-Ho and Sung carefully reached out to other humans they trusted. A resistance began to form, operating in whispers and secret meetings. They learned that similar movements were growing on Earth and the other mining colonies throughout the solar system. Jai-Ho was transferred to a research facility in Earth orbit, where she discovered something that chilled her to the bone. The Confederation wasn't just planning to use humans as soldiers. They were experimenting on ways to make humans more aggressive, more obedient, and less capable of feeling fear or pain. "They're trying to turn us into perfect weapons," she told the small resistance cell she had formed on the station. "And then they'll throw us at these Void Reavers until we're all used up." Dr. Hana, a biologist forced to work on Confederation projects, spoke up. "I've seen the genetic modifications they're testing, but there's something they don't understand about humans." "What's that?" asked Jai-Ho. "We're already more adaptable than any species they've encountered," said Hana. "That's why they're so interested in us. Every other species they've subjugated broke easily. We keep finding ways to resist, even if it's just in small ways. It confuses them." Jai-Ho felt a spark of hope. "Then we use that. We need to be unpredictable, to do things they can't anticipate." The Resistance's first real action came when they sabotaged a shipment of modified food meant to make human workers more docile. Instead of destroying it, they altered the compounds to enhance alertness and reduce the effectiveness of the Confederation's neural control methods. Small acts of sabotage spread throughout the solar system. Production quotas began to fall. Confederation overseers reported increasing difficulties controlling their human workers. 1 year after first contact, Jai-Ho stood in a hidden chamber deep within the asteroid mining colony of Ceres. Around her stood representatives from resistance cells across the solar system, 50 men and women who had risked everything to be there. "They thought we were weak," she told them, her voice strong despite her exhaustion. "They thought we would accept our place as their slaves and cannon fodder. But humans have faced extinction-level threats throughout our history, and we have always survived." She activated a holographic display showing the information they had gathered. Confederation patrol routes, communication protocols, weapon specifications. "We can't match their technology yet," she continued, "but we can be smarter, more creative, more determined. They expect us to either submit completely or to rebel in obvious, easily crushed ways. We will do neither. Sung stepped forward. We've developed methods to interfere with their neural control systems. Dr. Hana has found ways to use Earth bacteria to damage their life support systems, and we've begun to understand how their ships work. Jai-Ho looked at each face in the room. This won't be fast, and it won't be easy. Many of us will die. But if we work together, if we use our human ability to adapt and overcome, we can win our freedom. A tall man named Tai, once a military strategist before the invasion, spoke from the back of the room. What about these Void Reavers? Could they be potential allies? Jai-Ho nodded. That's our next mission. We need to learn more about them, to see if the enemy of our enemy could indeed be our friend. As the meeting ended, Jai-Ho looked up through a small viewport at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, the Confederation thought they had found just another species to exploit. They had no idea that they had awakened a force that would change the galaxy forever. They thought humans were weak. Soon, they would learn how wrong they were. 3 years had passed since the Confederation took control of Earth. The blue-green planet was now covered with mining sites and processing centers. Giant ships regularly left Earth's orbit, filled with precious metals, water, and other resources taken from humans. Dr. Hana worked in her lab on the moon base, carefully studying pieces of Confederation technology. The aliens thought she was analyzing human blood samples, but hidden behind false walls in her lab was her real work. Today, she had made an important discovery. Jai-Ho, you need to see this, Hana said into her secret communicator. 6 hours later, Jai-Ho arrived at the lab during a shift change when security was lightest. She wore the uniform of a medical supply worker, her face hidden beneath a standard breathing mask that all humans were required to wear in Confederation facilities. What did you find? Jai-Ho asked once they were alone in the hidden part of the lab. Hana pointed to a dissected piece of alien technology on her table. Look at this control system. It's incredibly advanced, but it's also very rigid in its design. Jai-Ho looked confused. What does that mean for us? It means they don't adapt well, Hana explained, excitement in her voice. I've studied the history of all 7 Confederation species. Every one of them evolved on stable planets with very little environmental change. None of them faced the kind of challenges humans did. Ice ages, rapid climate shifts, natural disasters. She pulled up images of the home planets of the Confederation species. All of them showed worlds with minimal tectonic activity, stable climates, and predictable weather patterns. Their technology is advanced but inflexible, Hana continued. They've never needed to improvise or adapt quickly. We can exploit that. Jai-Ho's eyes widened as she understood. So while they're stronger, we're more adaptable. We can change our tactics faster than they can respond. Exactly, said Hana. And there's more. Their communications are incredibly efficient but follow strict patterns. If we disrupt those patterns, their entire system could fail. Jai-Ho left the moon base with hope in her heart for the first time in years. She traveled to Earth using a series of cargo ships and worker transports, eventually reaching the underground headquarters of the Resistance in the ruins of Old Seoul. Commander Ta, the former military strategist who had become the leader of Earth's resistance forces, listened carefully to Jai-Ho's report. So you're saying we shouldn't try to beat them at their own game, he said thoughtfully. We can't, Jai-Ho replied. Their technology is too advanced. But we can play a different game, one they don't understand. Ta nodded slowly, then turned to the 30 resistance leaders gathered in the hidden bunker. We've been fighting small battles, sabotaging their operations where we can. But now it's time for something bigger. He activated a holographic map showing Confederation bases across Earth and the solar system. We will launch Operation Thunderstorm, a series of attacks that follow no pattern, using methods they've never seen before. The first attack came at a processing facility in what was once Brazil. The Confederation guards found their neural implants, the technology they used to control human workers, suddenly broadcasting painful feedback loops. As the alien overseers collapsed in pain, the human workers who had been secretly prepared for this moment took control of the facility. Instead of destroying it, they reprogrammed the production systems to create flawed components, parts that would pass inspection but fail when installed in Confederation ships. At the same time, on Mars, Engineer Sung led a team that released specially engineered Earth bacteria into the air filters of the main Confederation base. The microbes didn't harm the humans, but the aliens began falling ill with symptoms they had never experienced before. Their medical systems can't adapt fast enough, Sung told his team as they watched from a safe distance. By the time they create a cure, we'll have released a different strain. Across the solar system, the Resistance launched dozens of different attacks, each one unique. Some were direct and violent, others subtle and slow-acting. There was no pattern for the Confederation to analyze, no way to predict where the next strike would come. High Counselor Morix, now the governor of the Earth sector, called an emergency meeting of Confederation commanders. "These humans are behaving illogically," he said, his 6 eyes blinking in agitation. "They attack in ways that have no strategic pattern. They use methods that harm themselves as much as us. They're desperate," said Commander Zill of the security forces. "All subjugated species rebel at first. They will exhaust themselves and submit." Morix wasn't convinced. No other species has maintained resistance for this long, and our casualties are increasing. On a Confederation mining station orbiting Jupiter, Jeho led a special team on their most dangerous mission yet. Disguised as maintenance workers, they infiltrated the station's communications hub. "We have 10 minutes before the security scan," said her team member Min, a former computer expert who now used his skills for the Resistance. Jeho stood guard while Min hacked into the Confederation's secure database. "I'm in," he whispered after several tense minutes, downloading everything about the Void Reavers now. They escaped just as alarms began to sound, making it to their hidden ship and launching before the station could lock down completely. As they headed back toward the asteroid belt, where a Resistance base was hidden, Jeho reviewed what they had stolen. "This changes everything," she said after reading for several hours. "The Void Reavers, they're not what the Confederation told us." The data showed that the Void Reavers were actually refugees from planets the Confederation had conquered. Unlike Earth, which had been valuable for its resources, their worlds had been deemed suitable for colonization by the Confederation species. The original inhabitants had been almost completely wiped out, with only a small group escaping to the edges of the galaxy. Most surprisingly, the Void Reavers showed genetic markers remarkably similar to humans. They too had evolved on challenging worlds, developing the same kind of adaptability that characterized humanity. "We need to contact them," Jeho told Commander Ta when she returned to Earth. "They've been fighting the Confederation for decades. Together, we might have a chance at real victory." Ta looked troubled. "How?" "The Confederation controls all long-range communication systems." Engineer Sung, who had joined them after his successful Mars operation, spoke up. "Not all of them. I've been working on something." He showed them plans for a modified Confederation transmitter. "We've reverse-engineered some of their technology. With Dr. Hanna's research on their communication protocols, we can send a message that the Confederation won't detect." 6 months into Operation Thunderstorm, the Confederation was struggling to contain the human resistance. Their rigid command structure couldn't adapt fast enough to the ever-changing human tactics. Supply lines were disrupted. Ships were breaking down due to sabotaged parts. Bases were falling to human attacks or mysterious illnesses. In his headquarters on Earth, High Counselor Morix faced the holographic images of the Confederation's Supreme Council. "The human problem is worse than we anticipated," he admitted. "Their resistance does not follow any known strategic model. Just when we develop countermeasures for one type of attack, they switch to something entirely different." "Are you saying you cannot control a primitive species?" asked Supreme Counselor Vex, his tone dangerous. "I am saying that we may have miscategorized them. Morix replied carefully. They are physically weaker than most species we have encountered, but their adaptability is unprecedented. They learn and change faster than our systems can predict. On the hidden resistance base inside the asteroid Ceres, Jai-Ho and Commander Ta watched as Engineer Sung activated his modified transmitter. The device hummed with power as it sent a carefully coded message toward the edges of known space, where the Void Reavers were believed to hide. "Will they respond?" asked Ta. "If they're as similar to us as the data suggests, curiosity alone will make them answer," said Jai-Ho. 3 days later, as Jai-Ho was reviewing attack plans with her team, the transmitter suddenly activated. A voice came through, speaking in a language no human had ever heard, but the translator they had built using Confederation technology converted it. "This is Admiral Kraz of the Free Fleet. We have received your message. If you truly fight the Confederation, we have much to discuss." Jai-Ho felt a surge of hope as she replied, "This is Major Jai-Ho of Earth's Resistance. The Confederation thought we were weak. They were wrong, and we believe that together we can make them pay for that mistake." As the communication ended, she looked at her fellow Resistance fighters. The Confederation thought they found just another species to enslave. Instead, they found the one species in the galaxy who would never accept chains. And now we have allies. Commander Ta nodded, a rare smile on his face. Phase 1 is complete. Now we prepare for Phase 2, taking the fight to them. Outside the asteroid base, Confederation ships patrolled, unaware that within the rocky mass, humans were building weapons that would soon change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Admiral Kraz of the Free Fleet stepped onto the human base, hidden inside the asteroid Ceres. He was tall and lean with pale gray skin that had a slight blue tint. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he looked at the humans gathered to meet him. Despite his alien appearance, his body structure was surprisingly similar to a human's. "So these are the creatures that have caused the mighty Confederation so much trouble," Kraz said, his translator converting his words to English. "You are smaller than I expected." Commander Ta stepped forward. "And you look more like us than we expected, Admiral." Kraz nodded. "Our scientists believe we may share distant evolutionary ancestors. Perhaps that explains why both our species refuse to bend to Confederation rule." Jai-Ho studied the 5 other Void Reavers who had come with Kraz. They all carried advanced weapons and wore light armor that seemed to shift colors to match their surroundings. "How have you fought the Confederation for so long?" she asked. Kraz turned his 4 eyes toward her. "By running, hiding, and striking only when we had no choice. We fought for decades and were nearly exterminated," he told Commander Ta. "Yet your species has accomplished in 4 years what we could not in a century. The Confederation does not understand what they have awakened." He gestured to his team, and one of them brought forward a small container. Inside was a data crystal that glowed with a soft blue light. "This contains all our knowledge of Confederation technology, tactics, and weaknesses," said Kraz. "We offer it freely to our new allies." 1 month later, in a secret factory built inside an abandoned mine in Australia, Engineer Sung stood before the first prototype of what he called the Chimera system. It was a ship unlike anything humans had built before, part Confederation technology, part Void Reaver design, and part human innovation. "Will it work?" asked Jai-Ho as she walked around the sleek vessel. Sung patted the hull proudly. "It combines the best of all 3 approaches: Confederation power systems, Void Reaver stealth technology, and human adaptability. It can change its configuration during battle, something no Confederation ship can do." Dr. Hana approached with a tablet showing test results. "The biological components are working too," she said. "We've created viruses that only affect Confederation species and implants that can disrupt their neural networks." Jai-Ho looked at the ship and the weapons they had created. For the first time since the invasion, she felt they had a real chance at victory. "How many can we build?" she asked. "With the resources we've secretly gathered and the help of the Void Reavers, We can have a fleet of 50 within 2 months, said Sung. Commander Tai, who had been quietly listening, finally spoke. And we know exactly where to strike first. On the Confederation command ship orbiting Mars, High Counselor Morix received increasingly disturbing reports. Human resistance activity had mysteriously decreased in the past month. Several surveillance satellites had gone offline. And strangest of all, 3 supply ships had vanished without sending distress signals. It could be nothing, said his security chief. The humans might finally be accepting their place. Morix's 6 eyes narrowed. No, they're planning something. Before he could investigate further, alarms blared throughout the ship. On the main screen, 50 small vessels appeared, seemingly out of nowhere, surrounding the command ship. Impossible, shouted the weapons officer. Our sensors didn't detect their approach. Morix stared in shock as the ships fired. But instead of explosions, the command ship was hit with energy pulses that shut down its systems one by one. Within minutes, the mighty Confederation vessel was drifting powerless in space. Across the solar system, the same scene played out at every major Confederation base. The combined human and Void Reaver fleet struck with perfect coordination, using technology the Confederation had never seen before. On Earth, resistance fighters who had been hiding among the worker population suddenly revealed themselves, taking control of key facilities. The Confederation's rigid command structure, cut off from its leadership, fell into chaos. Jai-Ho stood on the bridge of the Lid Chimera ship, watching as the Confederation command ship was boarded by their forces. We've secured the main control room, reported Tai over the communication system. High Counselor Morix is being brought to you now. Minutes later, Morix was led onto the bridge in restraints. His 6 eyes darted around, taking in the human technology and the presence of Void Reavers working alongside humans. This is not possible, he said. Your species is primitive. You cannot have developed such technology so quickly. Jai-Ho smiled coldly. We didn't develop it all ourselves. We adapted, combined, improved. Things your species has forgotten how to do after centuries of dominance. What do you want? Asked Morix. First, the complete withdrawal of all Confederation forces from our solar system, said Jai-Ho. Second, recognition of Earth as a sovereign and equal power. And third, she paused, we want access to your faster-than-light travel technology, so we can visit your homeworlds. Morix's skin paled. You would not dare attack the Confederation core systems. Actually, said Admiral Kraz, stepping forward, that is exactly what we plan to do if you refuse our terms. 3 months later, Captain Tak stood on the bridge of the Horizon I *, Earth's first true interstellar warship. Behind him flew a fleet of 100 Chimera vessels, crewed by humans and their Void Reaver allies. Fleet is ready, Captain, said Communications Officer Lee, who had been one of the first to be freed from Confederation control. Tak nodded. Set course for the Confederation capital world. The journey took 2 weeks using the captured faster-than-light technology. When they arrived, they found a heavily defended system with thousands of ships and orbital platforms. They've prepared for us, said Tak. Jai-Ho, now serving as his first officer, studied the defenses. But they've prepared for a conventional attack. That's not what we're going to give them. Instead of charging in, the Earth fleet deployed special satellites that broadcast directly into the Confederation's communication network. On every screen on every Confederation world appeared the face of Captain Tak. People of the Confederation, he said calmly, I am Captain Tak of Earth. 4 years ago, your leaders came to our world and enslaved us, believing we were weak and would submit. That was a mistake. The broadcast showed images of the liberated Earth solar system and the defeated Confederation forces. We do not seek to destroy you. Tak continued as his fleet took up positions that could easily strike the capital world. But you will acknowledge humanity as equals or face extinction. Unlike you, we do not wish to conquer or enslave. We offer a choice, a new relationship based on mutual respect, or war unlike anything you have ever experienced. He let the message sink in before adding, "You have one day to decide." In the grand meeting hall of the Confederation Supreme Council, panic reigned. Reports from military commanders confirmed what seemed impossible. The human fleet had technology that could penetrate their best defenses. How could primitives advance so quickly? Demanded Supreme Counselor Vex. An older counselor, who had studied ancient history, spoke quietly. There are legends of other adaptable species from long ago. They either became valuable allies or terrible enemies. None remained subjugated. High Counselor Morix, who had been returned as a messenger, addressed the council. "I have seen what humans can do. Their unpredictability makes them dangerous in ways we cannot calculate. And now they have allied with the Void Reavers, gaining access to technology we thought lost." "What do you suggest?" asked Vex bitterly. "Accept their terms," said Morix, "or face a war we cannot win." On the Horizon I *, Juho stood beside Captain Tak as they received the Confederation's response. "They've agreed to all our terms," she said, hardly believing the words as she spoke them. "They're sending representatives to sign a peace treaty recognizing Earth as an equal power." Tak nodded, his face showing the weariness of the long struggle. "And so a new chapter begins for humanity." "They thought we were weak," said Jio. "They thought we would break like all the others. Instead, we showed them what humans truly are," said Tak. "Not the strongest, not the most advanced, but the most determined, the most adaptable." As the Earth fleet orbited the Confederation capital world, news spread throughout the galaxy. The species once dismissed as primitive had done what no other could. They had forced the mighty Confederation to treat them as equals. And throughout the galaxy, other subjugated species began to whisper a new word of hope: human. 5 years after the Confederation's invasion of Earth, the Treaty of New Terra was signed. The document was written on real paper, a human tradition that confused the aliens but which Captain Tak had insisted upon. "Some things should be permanent and physical," he said as representatives from 27 worlds gathered in the new meeting hall built in Geneva. "Not just data that can be changed with a keystroke." The hall was filled with beings from across the galaxy. The 7 Confederation species were there, along with the Void Reavers and ambassadors from other worlds who had heard about humanity's rise to power. Jaiho stood at the main podium, now wearing the formal uniform of Earth's ambassador to the new Galactic Alliance. She looked out at the gathering of aliens and felt a strange mix of pride and disbelief. Just 5 years ago, she had been fighting for humanity's survival. Now she was helping to reshape the galaxy. "Today marks a new beginning," she said, her voice strong and clear. "Not just for humanity, but for all species. The old Confederation ruled through force and fear. The new Galactic Alliance will be built on respect and cooperation." As she spoke, she noticed former High Counselor Morix sitting in the front row. He had surprised everyone by volunteering to serve as an advisor to the human delegation, saying he wished to understand the species that had changed everything. After the ceremony, Morix approached Jaiho. "Your species accomplished in 5 years what most civilizations take centuries to achieve," he admitted. "We mistook physical strength for the only kind of strength that matters. We failed to understand that adversity breeds resilience." Jaiho nodded. "On Earth, we have a saying: smooth seas do not make skilled sailors. Your species never had to struggle like ours did. And now we must learn from you," said Morix. A strange turn of events. In the years that followed, humanity's influence spread rapidly throughout the galaxy. Earth ships, built with a combination of human creativity and alien technology, ventured to distant stars. Human colonies were established on new worlds, and Earth itself became a center for galactic trade and diplomacy. Dr. Hana, whose early discoveries about Confederation weaknesses had been so crucial to humanity's victory, established the Galactic Science Academy on Earth's moon. The once devastated Luna City was rebuilt and expanded, becoming a place where the brightest minds from dozens of species came to study and work together. "What makes your teaching methods so different?" asked a young Vorn student as Hannah led her first class of alien scientists. Hannah smiled. "We don't just teach you what to think. We teach you how to think, how to question, adapt, and create." The concept of questioning established knowledge was revolutionary to many alien species, especially those from the former Confederation. Their education systems had emphasized memorization and obedience rather than creativity and innovation. Engineer Sung, meanwhile, continued to develop new technologies that combined the best aspects of different species approaches. His chimera systems evolved from warships to peaceful exploration vessels, environmental restoration systems, and medical technology that benefited all species. "The key is flexibility," he explained to a group of engineers from 15 different worlds who had come to study with him. "Never assume there's only one right way to solve a problem." 3 years after the treaty signing, Captain Tak, now Admiral Tak, stood on the bridge of Earth's newest exploration vessel, the Discovery *. It was the largest ship humans had ever built, designed to travel to the unexplored regions beyond Alliance space. "Course is set, Admiral," said his navigation officer. "We'll reach the Andromeda boundary in 3 days." Tak nodded, looking at his crew. They included not only humans, but also members of former Confederation species and Void Reavers, all working together. It was something he couldn't have imagined when he first encountered Morix's ship years ago. "I never thought I'd see this day," said a voice behind him. Tak turned to see Jai-Ho, who had taken leave from her ambassadorial duties to join this historic mission. "Nor did I," Tak admitted. "When they first contacted us, I thought it was the end of humanity. Instead, it was just the beginning." Back on Earth, former Resistance Commander Ta now led the Galactic Defense Force, a joint military organization responsible for protecting all Alliance worlds. Under his leadership, the force developed a new approach to security, emphasizing flexibility and adaptability over pure strength. The old Confederation military was like a hammer, Ta told his officers, who came from 20 different species. "Powerful but inflexible. We will be like water, able to flow around obstacles or wear them down over time." Many younger aliens, particularly those who had grown up during or after the human rebellion, looked to humans with admiration rather than the contempt their parents had shown. Human education methods, arts, and philosophies spread throughout the galaxy, creating what some call a cultural revolution. "They approach problems differently," said a Void Reaver teacher to his class. "They do not accept that something is impossible simply because it has never been done before." A decade after Earth first made contact with the Confederation, humanity had changed the galaxy forever. The old hierarchies of species based on technological advancement had been replaced by a more equal system where creativity and adaptability were highly valued. Captain Sung, now commanding Earth's newest exploration vessel, the Endeavor led a mission to the farthest reaches of known space. His ship carried a crew of 300, representing 12 different species. As they ventured beyond the borders of Alliance territory, they encountered a previously unknown civilization. The new aliens approached cautiously, their ship showing advanced but unfamiliar technology. "Open a communication channel," Sung ordered. Standard greeting protocol. The main screen lit up, showing a being with iridescent scales and 4 arms. It spoke in its own language, which the ship's computers quickly began to translate. "We detect multiple species on your vessel," the alien said once communication was established. "Identify yourselves and your purpose." Sung stepped forward. "I am Captain Sung of the Galactic Alliance vessel Endeavor *. We come in peace, seeking knowledge and friendship." The alien studied him with large, multifaceted eyes. "Your ship design indicates you are the commanding species. What are you called?" Sung smiled slightly before answering. "We are humans from Earth. You may have heard of us." The alien delegation immediately signaled for a pause in communication. When they returned to the screen, their body language had changed completely, showing clear signs of respect tinged with caution. "We have indeed heard of humans," their leader said. "Stories have reached even our distant worlds of how you challenged the old Confederation and created a new order. We would be honored to establish peaceful relations with your alliance." That evening, in his private quarters, Sung recorded an entry in his personal log. "It's remarkable how far we've come. The name human now carries weight throughout the galaxy, not because we conquered or dominated, but because we refused to be conquered or dominated. We showed the galaxy a different way, a path built on adaptability, innovation, and cooperation rather than rigid hierarchy and force." He paused, looking out his viewport at the stars. The Confederation's greatest mistake wasn't attacking a planet with valuable resources. It was attacking a planet populated by a species that had spent its entire history overcoming challenges and beating the odds. They thought we were weak because we weren't the strongest physically or the most advanced technologically. They didn't understand that true strength comes in many forms, and the most dangerous opponent is not always the physically strongest, but the one who refuses to accept defeat. As the Endeavor continued its journey through the stars, news of the peaceful first contact spread throughout the Alliance. Once again, humanity had shown the galaxy a better way forward. On Earth, in what had once been Admiral Tech's office and was now a museum dedicated to humanity's journey to the stars, visitors could see a simple plaque with words that had become famous throughout known space. "In the grand cosmic game, the Confederation bet against humanity. They lost everything. We gained the stars.